Hello everyone. So today we will discuss and code a new application that's called Test Application Simple. So the idea of this application is pretty much similar to the general test application, for example, similar to TOEIC. And that particular application has one question field, four answers, like four possible ways to provide answers, counter, which will give us the counting numbers about the questions what is displayed, and the button, one button start. Okay, see, how does it work? If I click the button start, so we will see the first question. So we can see that question ID is here 1 of 5. So it means that we will display the first question. So the first question, what is the capital of the Great Britain? So in here there are four possible answers, like Seattle, New York, Chicago, London. Click London, Chicago, New York. So by using that choice, we can make like our current choice. Let's say London, click next. So what is the sines of the 90 degree? 1. What is the logarithm, natural logarithm of E? 1. What is the arccosine 0? 0. What is the sine square A plus cosine square A? 1. Next. Okay, so once we finish our test, so here we can see the test is finished. Our answers disappear. And here I supposed to check my answers. So is that correct or not? So click check. So and here we can see like question 1 correct, 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 question 4 wrong, question 5 correct. Okay. So if I will click it again, so we are going back to the first page again. So and we can process our test one more time. So here click start and we can see that our application is going from the beginning. So this is the task for today, to create that simple simple test application. So and we will figure out that it is not pretty simple. So and we will need to do some kind of extra coding in order to like make sure that this application is working properly. Okay, let's begin. First, what we need to do is to create a new Java project. Okay, let's call it test application for video. Okay, so just add extra part. Yeah. Okay. Test application video, finish. And let's start. First, what we need to do is to make the package. My package. See, originally my package is empty. It has like those white gray color. So we need to fulfill it. Right click, new, other, and here choose the application windows. Okay, so everything what I will type here will appear in the top of my application. So that's like for simplicity. Do this. Write your name. I write my name. Okay, after that, like ID, and here like test app. So this name will appear here. Make your name and your student's ID, like inside of those particular application, like all any other application what we will make later. Okay, and here we can see that particular number. Okay, so now let's start. So we can see the application is empty. So this is another interesting and very important part to go, because that makes sure the application is ready for the next coding. So what we are doing next, okay, let's add the design. Come here, don't forget set absolute layout. So the first is the part where we are going to display our question. Make it big. So here, let's say this is our question. So I supposed to place the question here. Text is good luck. Okay, and that corner I will place something what I will call counter. So in the beginning, nothing inside. And I want to place four checkboxes. Let's call it like checkbox 1, CB1. So the text inside will be answer 1. I need 4 of them. So this is our checkbox 2, answer 2. Control C, Control V, yeah, and so that will be our checkbox 3. Okay, so one moment. Answer. Let's rename our checkboxes. Let's call this one checkbox 0. This is checkbox 1. That one is checkbox 2, and this is the checkbox 3. So the reason why we need that particular naming, that will come later. Now I need one button, and let's call this button as the button start next text start. Okay, done. Run. And this is our application. So we can see it is pretty much similar except that part, but like we will fix it later. Okay, so let's change the title of our application. Test application simple for video. So I will make application for video. So that's why let's add this particular title, application simple video. So the next what we will need to do here is to code our button start. See, the button start has a few different functionality. For example, now like button start. So if I click it once, so it became button next. So I click 5 times and that became button check. Click one more time. So here we given answers. So click check one more time, and that's turn us into the original shape, and that button became start again. See, the button start can be the button start, can be the button next, and button check. So there are three different functionality for that particular button. So, and that functionality we will need to fix. So, and in order to do that, like, let's start our coding. So this is our application. So the beginning, the header of our application, where we are going to play with our button. Okay, and in order to process everything correctly, let's make the first variable, and we will call it the button status. And as default, let's say the button status is 0. Okay, and here let's consider what does 0 means. So if my button status is 0, let's say this is like, let's call it like process next. So if 1, process check. Okay, and as long as we will need to come back to the original page, let's make one more, call it 2, and let's call it like new test. And one by one we can code that particular path. Okay, now coming back to the design, if I want to initiate my button start, double click here. So then we can see it start right here. Okay, so I will need to process the few different things. Process next, process check. So the new test we will add later. As long as we already design our button status, so if our button status is 0, remember that was our process next. So if our button status is 1, so I am going to process check. Okay, and here else, as long as our button status can be either 0, 1, or 2. So here that's supposed to be button status 2, or here I will process new test. New test. Okay, so now how does it work? See, if I click start, it's changed to next. So that's happened when I first time click my button start. Okay, so now how can I change the text of my button? Pretty simple, like button start next. So this is the name of my button. Dot set text. As long as the button, this is the widget from our application, so we can easily change the text inside. So and our button will become a button next. Okay, see how does it work? Click start, and now that's became next. Now, what will be the next one? See, now I will display 5 different questions. Once again, next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it turns to check. So that's happen when I will process my button next. Okay, so what do I need to do here? The first of all, I need to count my questions. So that's why for the questions, let's come back to the header, and let's make one more variable. We will call it question ID. So the question ID will link to the different questions. So it can be kind of different questions. So and the 0 link to the question number 1. Okay, so now that question ID I need to update every time when I click the button next. See here, we will display our question ID, 1 of 5. This one is our question ID. So here, every time when I process next, I will update my question ID. So, and here that's should be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So that's why we will need to like stop it in one particular moment. So here, let's make one condition. So if my question ID less than, I need to stop when I already display 5 questions. So that's why let's make one more variables. Let's call it number of questions. So it is empty, like it is not designed yet. So that's why, like I will copy it, move here. And as long as I know how many questions I will have, number equal 5, so I can set it here. So, and if my question number is less than number of questions, so here I can set up that my question ID will be only 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if it is else, so and I already meet the question number 5, this situation. So now if I will click next one more time, so the status of my button should change from next to check. Okay, click, and now we do have the status check. So means that if else happen here, so my status 1 will become 1. So I should start processing the check component. So if I change my status, so here I also need to change the text of my button. Okay, so we did it once, so here I can do it one more time, and now I can place check. And here, as long as I display my already update my check ID, like question ID, so let's modify that part. So this is the report, set text, stop, counter dot set text. Okay, and here I need to display a question as long as of 5. This is the question ID plus of plus number of questions. Okay, see how does it work. So this is our first question, start. So it starts displaying 0, which is wrong, but like we can correct it. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is actually our question number 5. Click next, and that's became check. So how to correct that part? As long as our question ID started from 0, The first what I will display here is also 0, but we did it for a reason. So we need that 0 here because later we will need to display our questions. In order to fix that issue, so I will just add like 1 here. Question ID plus 1. This is 0 plus 1 will become 1. Again, this is just in order to display my questions. See here, I start seeing the first question, second, third, fourth, fifth. Click one more time. That became check. And if I will click like check one more time, see here, next, check, click check. So I supposed to display that path. So if I will click check now, so that should move to the start again. So actually here, what we will need to do. So if my status 1, I will process check. So here I supposed to update my button status to 2 because I want to make a new test. And once I will make a new test, I supposed to change the name of my button back to the start. Start. Okay, as long as that will be the starting point of the next test. So my question ID will become like 0 again. Yeah, okay, that's that part. We can do it later. Now let's try what will happen. So this is the first one. Check. Next, 1 of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5. So fifth questions appear. So that became check. Click one more time. Start. So now we mimic everything what we have in our reference application. Okay. So the next what we will need to do is to display the necessary questions. So, okay, see how does it work? If I click start, so that will be my first question. Click next, that will be my second question. Third, fourth, fifth question. So altogether I must have 5 questions somewhere in my application. So that's why let's do it. Let's save and keep in the memory those particular questions. So seems that I do have a question set. In order to do that, I will use the string. So as long as this is all text, so I will use the string. Let's call it questions array. So what does it mean? See, questions, those square brackets. So remember, we already discussed what is arrays. So in Java, it is also possible to build arrays from the string components. So in here, the different strings inside, that will be the items for the string array, and we will use it in this application. So then I can place the questions of my application. So the first is what is the capital of the Great Britain. So the next one is what is the sine 90 degree. So the next will be what is the natural logarithm of I. Okay, first question, second question, third question. So the fourth question, this is the arc cosine 0. And the last one, this is the sine square A plus cosine square A. That is our last question, last fifth question. So now we do have a string question where I place all of my 5 questions. So now every time when I click the button, okay, that doesn't cycle. That we will do next. Okay, see here, if I display the first question, so at that time my first question must appear here. I click next, so here I should display the second question, third, fourth, fifth questions. So all of them must be displayed in the screen. I already made them in the string questions. So now I can just call them one by one. Coming back to our application, so here, when we change our question ID, now I can display my question. So how can I display the question? So we will have to display it here, isn't it? So go back here. So this is our question starting from the small character. This one, this question. Copy, come here. So in the question field, set text. So here I supposed to display my question. So but the questions, they are located in the array questions. Square bracket, question ID. See what is happening now. Questions, they contains all of our strings, what is inside. So question ID now is 0. 1, 2, 3, depends how many times did I click the button next. So coming back to that situation, so this is my first question. So in that situation, my ID, question ID is 0. 0. Okay, so the question string in the position 0 is capital of the Great Britain. This is 0. So that's why I will display the capital of the Great Britain. So, but my question ID will be updated every time when I click the button, this button. So, and one by one, I will display the different questions here in my application. Okay, now let's see how does it work. Okay, click start. So this is our first question. Second question, third question, fourth question, fifth question. So the all questions display in the screen. So, okay, so here, fifth, okay, click here. See, when the check appear, so the text should be changed into the like test finished. So where do I need to do it? Here, isn't it? Instead, I will write test finished. Okay, so if I display check, if I already display all of my 5 questions, so if I will click that button one more time, so I supposed to see like the test finished and check. Okay, first question, second, third, fourth, fifth. Next, test finished, and here I can see check. Technically, yeah, we can, yeah, so okay, then we will update it later. that's done. So the next what I will need to do is to handle my answers. So the answers I can process exactly this in the same manner what we did in respect of the questions. So if I do have the string for questions, I can do exactly the same for my answers. String answers. So what will be the issue with the answers? As long as as long as we do have only 5 different questions, but for each question I must have 4 possible answers. So means that here for the answers, so that's better to use the two-dimensional array. So in Java we can make two-dimensional array as well. So and they will be placed in this manner. So I do have 5 questions, so means that I must have 5 lines, and for each of that lines I will make an answer for a different question. So here will be the answers for question 1. Question 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, the first of all, let's add those particular answers. Okay, so this is the answers for the first question. Seattle, New York, London. Okay, so this is the set for the second question. Good. Fourth and fifth. So I will just use exactly the same answers what I have there. Okay, now how can I use it? Assume that I want to see the first first answer for the first question. So answer. So the first coordinate, see here there are 2 coordinates. So if it is 1 coordinate, no problem. So we can easily use it. But here there are 2 coordinates. What I need to place here? So I want to see the Seattle. So the first coordinate, that will be the number of line what I have here. And the starting point is 0. Okay, so 0, 0. So that will give me Seattle. So now if I want to get, let's say, infinity, how can I get infinity? Okay, let's write it. Answer. Okay, so I want infinity. Infinity. So infinity, see, this is the third line. 0, 1, 2. So that's why here that should be 2. 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3. So that will be my infinity. And so on. So I can make like that particular answers. So it means that the first index, that will be our question ID. Second index, this is the answers ID. 0, first answer here. Second, third, and fourth. That's all. Okay, so now we need to code them. Go back here. So and at the time where we display the questions, so here I need to display our answers. So how can I display the answers? So the first answer I should display here in the first checkbox. So this is the CB1 set text. So, and here I'm supposed to display the answer. Where? So the first, this is the question ID. So that's why I will place it here. Okay. See, this is my first question, capital of the Great Britain. Seattle, this is the first answer for the first question placed in the text set box 1. Set box 1, answer, question ID now is 0. So this, remember that 1 means the question ID plus 1. And that one will be the position in this matrix where what exact answer I want to set up here. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 is the index to display answers for the text box 1. 1 will be the index to display the answers for the text box 2, and so on. Okay, and let's check. See, okay, mistake. See, the first answer should be CB0. That's important. CB0. And here I supposed to place 0. Okay, as long as I do have 4 answers, for example, if I want to get the answer for the answer 2, so this is the set box 1, and here 1. Actually, that's why I suggest you to use like 0, 1 here, because see, the index will be the same. 0, this is the index for the first answer, 1 for the second answer, and so on. So that's why that will be less confusing. Like 2, 2. Actually, I can even write it. This is the answer for question 1. So that will be for the question 2, for the question 3. So, and if I need the last fourth question, so here will be 3, 3, and that will be the answer for the question 4. Done. So the question ID will be automatically updated, so means that now we can see our answers. Start, see, capital of the Great Britain, and 4 answers. Next, 4 answers. Next, 4 answers. Next, 4 answers. Next, 4 answers. Done. Okay, so that part we will update later, because a lot of work what we will need to do here in order to make that application properly designed. Okay, let's continue. So the next what we will need to do is to implement the exclusive procedure. So see here, if I will click one of the items, like to make an answer, so it's exclusively pick one necessary answer and avoid others. So the implementation is pretty much similar to what we had before for our like currency converter, length converter, and others. So, but here we change from radio buttons into the checkboxes. So here it's just for the study purposes. Like let's discuss how to use the checkboxes. So because you already know how to use the radio boxes. The point of the checkboxes, so sometimes when we are creating the test, which may have more than one possible answer, so the use of a radio button will be harder to implement. But in case of the checkboxes, we can always do that. Okay, see what is happening here. So if I will do it in my test, like in the test what we just made now, so see here the choice is not exclusive. All of our checkboxes, they are separated. So the problem is pretty much similar to what we had before for our first temperature converter, where our buttons, radio buttons, they were separate. So here the problem is similar, but as long as this is the checkbox, so the solution will not be same as what we discussed before. And again, okay, so how to solve it? First of all, what we need to do is to create something which will unify all of our checkboxes. So that certain way exists in general Java, and we can use it. What we need to do is like call private, and now like create something responsible for our checkboxes. Okay, so in Java, the all objects, see the J checkbox, this is the class. So, and for that class, I can make a set of the class objects. See, every time when we do this, for example, JFrame, this is the class. This frame, test, application, simple, this is the class object. And that class object we are using like everywhere in our application. See here, it's everywhere highlighted. So, but instead we can make a set of those particular objects. And let's call it like my answers. New J check box bracket. So I do have 4 answers, and I can make it here. So see, my answer, this is the set of 4 different checkboxes. So, and I can call and control them all together through the name my answers. So see, right now, like my like CB0, this is my answer 1. Hold only the answer for the first question. So what I want to do, I want to unify them all together into the one particular set. So, and this is my answer. So how does it work? We need to scroll down until the end of the function initialize. Okay, and here let's process like my answer in the position 0. This is the CB0. Okay, remember the CB0, this is the checkbox. My answer, this is the set of checkboxes. So that's why I can process this. So I do have 4 answers, so 4 checkboxes. So that's why here, one by one, I can fulfill it. So for example, the CB1, so that will be in my answers in the position 1, and that is my second answer. So and the last one is the 3 CB3. So and here I can set up like this is the checkbox for answer 1. So this is answer 2, 3, and 4. So all together we create 4 check boxes. Okay, so what we can do next? See, that did not solve the problem yet. Still, the situation will be pretty much similar to what we have now here. But what exactly we can do? See, what should happen every time when I click different checkbox, I will process some coding. So up to now we did not do that yet. So even for the so we did it for the radio button. So if I click the different radio buttons, so I will perform some coding which will like modify our appearance of the different widgets in my application. So here I want to do the same part. So what do we need to do is to process the listener part here. So CB0 dot add okay, actually, so the best what we can do, I can just copy this part from here. Okay, and just change the name. Okay, and the reason why, because here that should be this way. Okay, so see, this is the coding what we will start in order to like code our like CB0. So see, but what do I need to do now is to hold that information about my radio buttons. So, and inside I supposed to insert some coding. So remember we already did it for the radio buttons. But now, how can I do that here? See, the original idea is this, like CB0, like CB0, set selected. So here should be true. So actually it is true as default because when we like select or deselect, that will be automatically here. So and all other those buttons, 1, 2, and 3, they must be false. Okay, so this is the idea. False, false, false. The problem is that those CB1, CB2, CB3 is not exist right now. Why? Because we are talking about the CB0. So the first and the simple solution, what we actually used before, is to do this. Remove that part. From here, place it there. See, here, no problem. CB1, CB2, CB3, they are exist in our application. And now we can use it. So technically, I can just copy that 4 times, and that will be enough for our coding. So, but this time, let's do something else. So, assume that I don't want to separate, and here, as long as we already designed the group, so we may try to process our coding a little bit in a more systematic way. Instead of processing the different code here, I may try to create a function where I will process my necessary updates. Okay, let's make the function update checkboxes. Update checkboxes. Okay, and here I supposed to update checkboxes for the checkbox 0. Okay, so here, like the 0 is the ID of the first checkbox. So, and let's create that function, update checkboxes. See, what is the idea of this function? So here, every time when I will click one of that checkboxes, so I will update the status of my checkboxes. So, and that should resolve my problem. So, see, the idea is to move those particular source code out of the function initialize. See, everything what we are doing now, it is inside of the one single function. According to the general programming point of view, this is the very bad procedure. So as long as our applications, they are not really complex up to now, so we still can place everything into the class, like into the function initialize, and that will be okay. But when our application will become more and more complex, so we will need to update. We cannot use it like forever. Sooner or later we will need to go to some advanced level. So update check boxes, that will be our function. Okay, where and how to place our function. Okay, I will just copy the name. This is the initialize function. So here there are many other functions, like main function. This is our header. So this is the general class of our app. So, and inside there are many functions. So like initialize. This is the function initialize. So this is the end of the function initialize. So it means that here we can add our own function. Place own functions here. So how to make function? First, we need to make the type. Assume that my function will be public. So next is the type of the variable, what we will need to send back to the main function. So void means that there is nothing to send back to our main function. So that's why void. After that, I will use the name of my function, update checkbox. And see, all function has the input and output parameters. So this, as long as this is function void, there is no any output parameters, but there is the one input parameter 0. So that's why here I supposed to place like integer or something. Let's call it like ID. So any variables inside of the functions, they will exist only inside of the function. Everywhere else in our source code, they will not exist. Okay, so that's why this ID now is 0, because we are calling that from the beginning. So, and inside I supposed to do what? See, my answer is exist right here. Okay, now my answer in the position 0 dot answers dot. Okay, see, now I can get access into the same set as we had before. So this is my answer. Now this is again unification of many checkboxes. So and I can use it as the checkbox. Set selected false. So technically I need to do this 1, 2, 3, and my answer in the position ID must be true. So my ID here is 0, so as default I make all of my set like checkboxes false, and at the end one of them, which is exactly what I need to change, I will change it to true. So that's why I can use one function for all of my 4 checkboxes. Again, using the my answers. So remember the my answer, this is the global variable. So that's why it is accessible here in my function update check boxes. Okay, so and now I need to move my function everywhere. So see, now there is no any errors. So and I will add, okay, just copy this part. I will add it everywhere into my checkboxes. Checkbox 2, checkbox 3. Okay, So this is my checkbox 0, so that's why I place 0 here, because 0, this is idea for my first checkbox. So this is my answer to checkbox 2. Okay, so that's why here I supposed to place 1. Again, 1, this is the input parameter. So here the 1 is the ID for the second checkbox. So this one, this is my answer 3. So checkbox 2. So here that should be 2, because 2 is the checkbox for the third, like the ID for the third checkbox. Okay, and the last one, so here I supposed to place 3, because 3, this is the ID for the fourth checkbox. And now it must work. Let's see. Okay, so here, now if I will click one of my answers, it works. Okay, this is another drawback what we need to disable. See, next, when we are going to the next question, so the choice from the previous question is still exist in our application. So actually, yes, see here it doesn't exist. When we are going to the next question, so the choice disappear. Yeah, but in our case, when I'm going to the next question, so it is still like the answer from the previous answers is moving to the next answer. Okay, so how can we handle it? So every time when we process a button next, okay, I can disable the all of my checkboxes. Technically, what we can do, we can also use the function. So what we create here, update checkboxes. For example, here we can add. So if my ID, let's say equal, or not equal 5, modify it to the true. So the ID can be either 0, 1, 2, and 3. So, but if I can place like 5, all of my checkboxes will become false. Okay, so and here inside of my process next, so I can do it. So I can place it. Just call it disable all checkboxes. Disable all check boxes. So if I will place 5, so ID equal 5 makes all checkboxes unselected. Okay, and now let's check. So start, first question, London. Okay, so once we are going to the next question, it's disappear. Okay, so this part is solved. So the next what we will need to do is to process the check as well. So what we'll need to be here when we click the button check. We can see it here. So test finish. Okay, the first of all, what may be better to implement, like how to make our all of the checkboxes disappear when the last question happen. So that should be coded here. See, when my button status move to 1, so means that I supposed to process the check. So here I also supposed to delete all of my checkboxes. Okay, so here cb1 dot set visible. Okay, where is the specific command that's called the set visible, so which will either create my widget visible or not. So I don't want that checkbox be visible, so that's why I can set visibility as false. So later, if I will need to make it visible back, so that property I can always kind of change to the true, set visible to true, and that makes my application visible. Okay, so now let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we do have the same point here. So what is next? So the next is my checking procedure. So the checking procedure is here. Okay, so here maybe not start. Let's write it again. So, but again, we will do it later. So here, the first what I need to do is to check. How can I check? Check correct and the user answer, and that's immediately cause a lot of issues. Where is the correct answer? My application must know the correct answer, but up to now there is no that correct answers yet. Means that in our application I must make that correct answers. So integer correct answers. So array. Okay, and what is my correct answers? The capital of the Great Britain, London. 0, 1, 2, 3. So means that the correct answer for the first question has the index 3 that link to the London. Now, okay, so the answer for the second question. So sine of the 90 degree. What is the sine of the 90 degree is 1. So 1 has the position 1. Next. Question number 3. Natural logarithm of e. 1, 0, 1, 2. So the index is 2. So the correct answer for the question number 4, arc cosine 0, which is pi divided by 2. So this is 1. And the last one, the question for the sine theorem, this is 1. So ID is 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay, now my application knows the correct answers for the all questions. So I will also need the user answers. Okay, but the user answers will be answered by users. So that's why my application definitely doesn't know it. So that's why here I will just 5. We'll create an empty array, user answer, where I will insert the numbers. Okay, so what we are going to do next is we need to code our user answer. See, every time when I set the question, so we actually make a choice, isn't it? So for example, I click London, so it means that I want to have the answer London. So but what does it mean coding wise? So it means that my user answer in the position 0, because here there are 5 questions, 5 elements in my array. So for the London, if my answer is London, means that in the first position I will place, let's say, like user answer in the position answers. In the position 0 is what? 0, 1, 2, 3. 3. So that means that the user choose London. So if I choose Chicago, so that will be 2. Choose Seattle, it is 0. Okay, so assume that I choose London, so here the answer is 3, and I click the next question. So the next question means what? I will update my question ID. So, and now if I want to make the answer for the second question, so first question. So if I want to make an answer for the second question, so here I will use ID 1. Okay, and here again, that can be either 0, 1, 2, or 3. Let's say my answer is 0. So for the second question, I choose answer equals 0, the first answer. So that's why the ID will be 0. Okay, so that will be my answer for the second question. Second question. Okay, so this is the idea. So, but how to implement it in my code? So it means that every time when I click that particular checkboxes, I should process corresponding coding. So and the same I will do every time when I click and go to the next question. So now going back where I make a choice. So for example, I choose the Seattle. So this is my checkbox, but now the ID for my first question is that what we will need to discuss. Okay, see, how can I update my user answer? So the user answers. So here, as long as this is the first question, so the question ID is actually giving me that particular way, like to place my number in the correct location. And here I will place like 0, because this is the checkbox 0, means that I supposed to make a choice for the first case. So if I choose New York, means that this is the CB1. So and that line must be here, and my correct answer is 1. But again, question ID is the same. For the first question, I supposed to place the different answers, 0, 1. So here will be 2, because this is the answer 3. And here is number 3. Okay, so what is the problem here now? As I said, the problem is the question ID. Once again, like come back, this is my first question. What is exact question ID right now? See, I already display my first question, first 4 answers, and that number here is 1. So remember the question ID was 0 when I display all of those information. So this is here. So the question ID plus 1 off, so that's why 1 is here, but question ID is 0. So I display first question, capital of the Great Britain. So this number is 0, and also the number 0 here as well. So that's why I got the answers for the first question. But see what is happening here. My question ID got increased. So, and this is not 0 anymore, this is 1, because my application makes it ready for the second question, like at that particular moment. Means that if I will insert like London using the code here, what I just made here, it's not going to say the user answer in the position 0 is 3. Question ID now is 1, and this is the problem. Remember, so here, if I want to make a choice for the first question, so the number in the bracket should be 0. But again, here now the number is 1. So in order to correct that kind of drawback, the easiest way to just add -1 everywhere here. And that will automatically correct our problem. Okay, so and after, okay, let's make an answers. Well, let's make a mistake for the number 4. Okay, finish. So now I need to click check to get my answers. So that's what should happen right here. Okay, now my user answers. So is what? Okay, 3, 2, 1, and I made mistake for the like 3. 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, 3, 1, 2. Okay, 1. Okay, 1. So here 0, 1, 2, 2, and let's make a mistake here. 0. So that will be 3 for the number 4. Next, okay, this is my last question, and make correct answer 3. So, and remember my correct answer. Correct answers. So it will be like 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3. So now I will need to compare the answers. As long as I do have 5 questions, so I will make a loop. 0 I less than number of questions plus. Okay, so here if my user answer in the position I is not equal correct answer in the position I, so it is what? So here, like display wrong. So that particular part is similar to what we did for the arithmetic test. Okay, so here display correct. Done. So then this is that part. Click check, and now we want to see that particular part, like question 1, 2, 3, because right now it is not clear where to display that particular information. The reason why, because we did not build it yet. So how can we do that? Let's come back to the design, and discuss it here. So the next, what we will need to do is to display our answers, like the correct or wrong answers. So this is nothing else as some sort of report what our application must create based on the test results. Okay, so how to do that? The first of all, we need the field where we will display that particular information. Okay, come back to the design. And here there is something that's called the JText area. So and we are going to place it right here. After that, like make it big. This. So that text area, let's call it report. So and here we are going to display our information. Okay, done. So and in the beginning, when we just like create our application, I don't want to see that particular report area until I will need to display it in the screen. So like how to do, go to the source code. See, this report area now is the last one what was created in my application. So just delete it from here and move it in the beginning of my application. Place it here. Okay, and remember we already played with the visibility. So here my check buttons, they are not check boxes, they are not visible. So we can do the same with our text area. So like I can write like report set visible false. So at the time when I will need that report, I can call it back. See, now if I run, so there is no this area. So if I will disable that path, so now we can see they are here. Looks not really nice. So that's why I will disable my report in the beginning. So, and I will enable it only then I need it. So, and where do I need it? Is here. So when I set visibility for my setup box, for the checkboxes, so here I can display my report. Set visibility true. Okay, done. So and next what I need to do, just mimic that path. So if my answer is correct, I want to display that path. Okay, see here actually when we display our answers, it is either correct or wrong, but up to this point, everything is the same, like no difference. So that's why what we can do before going to the condition, we can write like report dot set text. Okay, so here will be the question number. Okay, so what number will be here is I plus 1 plus plus okay. But okay, and after that, that should be either correct or wrong. Okay, as long as that there are many questions, so I will also need to do this report dot get text to string plus. Okay, so and I will display that particular path in the screen. So here the report will be the data what I already have in my report. So in the beginning this is nothing. That's why it will be equation number 1 because I is 0 like 2 dots. And after that, this depends what it is, correct or wrong. I will need to add some information here. So report dot set text report dot get text to string plus, so here 1. Okay, and I need to go to the next line. See, because after displaying the question 1, my second question must be in the line down. So in order to get next line, just slash n, add the slash n, that will automatically move our text line down. So here, if I want to display correct, everything same, except here will be the word correct. Now let's check. What do we have here? Okay. Lambda, 1, 1. Let's make a mistake. Pi. Okay, so means that part better to place here. Better to place here. Okay, once again, London 1. Okay, so test finish, check. Okay, so now it is the same. So then we can see correct or wrong answers. So the next what is necessary to add here, so if I will click that button one more time, so I supposed to move back to the original condition. So except here I also supposed to change the counter. Okay, this is our button to like process the new test. So for the new test I need to do what? First of all, I don't need report. Set visibility false. So after that, for my radio button 1, stop, checkbox 1, set visibility. So set visibility true, and all of my checkboxes I want to see. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. So disable this, enable my checkboxes, but into the checkboxes I supposed to write the different text. Set text. So here that should be answer 1. Answer 2. 1, 2, 3. And the last one, so 3, 4. Okay, so now when I will click that button again, so text area where I display my questions correct or wrong will disappear. After that, I will enable all of my checkboxes with the answer 1, 2, 3, 4 text inside. Okay, and now I need to display the good luck. So this is my, so the area question. But instead of, so the real question, so here I will display good luck. Good luck. Okay, and I also need to update a counter. So the counter set text, I will just like display the same 3 lines what we had in the beginning. Okay, so, and the more important here is the question ID, because the question ID must be again be equal 0, because like I will start my application from the beginning. Now let's try. Okay, so good luck. Start. London 1. Okay, test finish. Check. Correct. Again. Okay. So what is the problem here? Because we did not change the buttons, like that button status, and it is still 2 now. That's why it doesn't work. So the button status I will also change to 0. Remember, the status 0 means that I will process the button next. Okay, and there is one more problem here. See, instead of again, I supposed to display. So here that should be the start, isn't it? So see, here I supposed to see the start instead of again. So it means that my button like button start next instead of again should be start. Okay, check one more time. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what is the answer. This is my table again. Okay, so here start. So this is my second term. Okay, so in here we can see the problem, because now the report about the both tests are given together. So it means that here, like when we process the new test, all data inside of my report I need to delete. So that's why the report set text nothing. Okay, so now let's check again. So new London 3.0.1 report again start Seattle. So I will choose all first one, all wrong. Okay, done. So click again. So now it is working. So that's all for today application. As you can see, it is, look, that application looks pretty much simple and easy, but the coding part may cause a lot of issues, a lot of interesting problem what we need to solve. And believe me, this is the very simple application. So the many applications what we will have to design in the beginning, so will be either same complex or even more complex. So again, that's all for today. Like please please code that particular application, be very careful by designing it, because again the complexity is getting higher, and next time we will practice with like something more interesting. So, and let's continue our studies with the general Java. Good luck.